Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I don't think I've actually ever done this here on my channel. I'm going to be reviewing a product and a collection, and I'll be doing swatches. So that's a thing that I've never done, but I thought it could be fun to change things around a little bit. So today I'm going to be talking about the NYX and Aquaria Palette and the NYX Electro Brights collection, which also just launched, and it includes 3 pigments and 6 matte lip creams. So I am wearing the palette, the pigments, and the matte lip cream, as well as a few other products to complement and finish up the look. I've got some thoughts. I've got some thoughts on this palette and this collection. So if you want to hear about it and see how I created this look, then keep on watching. But before I begin, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. So, why am I doing this video? Why did I decide to do a review / swatch video? Basically, today I went to the NYX headquarters to play with this collection, to play with the palette, and get a feel of the products. So I thought I'd share my thoughts. I literally created this look at the NYX headquarters. I was gonna film, but I was in a rush because I got there late, and so I wasn't able to film the process. But I think I'm going to remove one eye and show you guys how I did it, just so you guys can see. So, let's talk about this palette. The packaging's cute. I really like this iridescent effect. It kind of matches my earrings. But then, when you open it up, it looks a little something like this. It doesn't really match the shiny, colorful exterior. Now does it? Well, I've got some thoughts. So, hear me out. So this palette contains a mixture of matte, shimmer, and satin finishes. It contains mostly mattes, which I'm really happy about. It has 6 mattes, these 2 at the bottom, these 3, and then this one over here. The blue is a satin finish, I believe. These 2 are shimmer, and then this one is also shimmer, but it's more of like an iridescence. That's what I've got on my brow bone right now. And I should note that the red is a pressed pigment, and they say that it should not be used around the eye area. So there's that. I don't know why people make eyeshadow palettes with colors that you can't use around the eye area. You know everyone's going to use it regardless. So anyway, so let's talk color story. I really like the pops of color that they have in here. Kind of hate everything else. I have a pretty unpopular opinion that I hate palettes that have a black eyeshadow in them. I just hate it. I think they're absolutely unnecessary. I think that you have a million black eyeshadows in a million other palettes or as singles in your collection. Everyone does. You don't need another one. So I kind of hate it when a palette has a matte black, because to me it's just taking up space of a color that could have complemented this color story a lot more. Same goes for white. Unless you're sugar pill, your white probably isn't going to be that great. Let's be real here. Unless you're going to have a white that's actually white, what's the point? What's the point of adding that in? That's just me. I could be wrong. You guys could completely disagree, and that's fine. I just think if you're going to make a white eyeshadow, it should be white. And so far, the only 2 companies that have succeeded, in my opinion, are Sugarpill and Cosette. Those are the 2 white eyeshadows that I've tried that are actually opaque white. Mini rant over. So we've got these 2 wasted spaces, in my opinion. You could totally disagree with me. Then we've got this brown that I love it as a contour color. I think this is amazing for a contour color. It's the perfect ashy cool tone brown for contour. Do I think it belongs in this palette? I don't know. Because I try to use products in as many ways as possible, and what I mean by that is I use an eyeshadow as a blush, as a contour, as whatever. I do like colors like this because I think they are multi-use. You can use this to fill in an eyebrow, you can use this to contour, you can use this on your eyes. So I do appreciate colors like this. I just don't think it complements the rest. I don't know. I still don't know if I hate that color. You can leave her in there. I think it's fine. I think the black is the one that throws me off the most. So I feel like the top row and the bottom row are definitely 2 separate color stories. If you just look at the bottom row and then you just look at the top row, they make more sense than altogether jumbled as a palette. But the first thing I noticed is that there are no transition shades. But then when I tried it, I noticed that the pigmentation is very weak, but it's buildable. And so you don't really need a transition shade when the pigmentation isn't super strong to begin with. You can use the actual eyeshadow and just build it up slowly. That was the case with this teal. That was the first color I used, and I was afraid that it was going to be too strong and I was going to need to go in with a transition shade first, but it proves to be very, very sheer and you can build it up slowly and gradually. If you're expecting really strong pigmentation, then you're going to be disappointed. If you're used to something like the Ultimate Brights palette by NYX that I think, in my opinion, packs a punch from the get-go with the pigmentation, this is not the same formula. This is not the same kind of eyeshadow. This, you'll get the pigmentation eventually. You'll have to just build it up. So yeah, I found this color story very confusing. I think there's a very limited amount of looks you can do with this without reaching for another palette. So this might be good to just add a few pops of color to your collection, but honestly, it's mostly neutrals with a few pops of color, and I don't know if that's really beneficial. I also don't like that the packaging is super holographic and shimmery, and then you get this really neutral palette with some pops of color. That's just my opinion. I do think it's a very, like, chic palette, if that makes sense. I feel like the colors are very specific. Like, I wouldn't mind the color story if the packaging was different. I don't think they should have gone for this packaging if they were going to go for something super sleek and chic. Like, these colors are all very, very chic. You could do a dark blue or a dark brown and look very, very fashion forward and elegant with just like a few pops of color. So I do see this as having a more elegant color story, and I don't think that matches the holographic packaging. Now that's just my 2 cents. I did not dip into all of the shadows in this palette. I only used a few of them, but they did give us the pigments from the Electro Brights collection to play with too, and I used the purple, which I thought complemented this palette really, really well. I thought that if they had substituted the black for a purple, for example, like if you just place that right there, that makes a world of a difference. I think they could have swapped that black out for a purple like this, and it would have made way more sense, and you could have gotten more looks out of the palette. As for the yellow I'm wearing, it is not the one in the palette. It's the pigment, because this one, it looked pretty lackluster. Honestly, if you compare it, this is like a really pale yellow. I see myself using this as a transition shade. I think this is a great pale yellow transition shade, but not if you want a pop of color like what I did. So I'm not saying this is a bad yellow to have. It's just not the type of pop of yellow that you're expecting. It's going to be a much more muted yellow, which I think will be great as a transition shade. And I don't really have pale yellows in my collection, so I'm actually happy about this, but I did have to dip in to the pigments to get a pop of yellow like this one. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do some swatches so you guys can see what they look like. So I'm gonna swatch with my finger, and there's nothing on my arm. Top row first. Now bottom row. I think the more I look at this palette, the less I hate it. And I didn't hate it by any means, but it is kind of jarring. I think just the color placement is pretty jarring to me anyway. It kind of looks like it's all random, it doesn't make sense. But the more I look at it, and now having done the swatches, having actually touched every single color, it's kind of growing on me. I think the colors are nice, but I'd probably be dipping into this for a specific color. I wouldn't be reaching for this to create a full look with just this palette. I think it's very limiting in terms of how many looks you can do with it. I think this was a very thought out palette. To me, when I look at it, it looks like there was a lot of thought put into this from Aquaria's part, but I don't know if that thought translates well. I think these might have been colors that she was missing in her collection, and she was like, I want to create something that I don't already have, and that would make sense. But I don't know. I don't know. I think I will be dipping into this palette more. Like, the yellow isn't a bright pop of yellow, but it is a pale yellow that can be used in many other instances. I think this red is really pretty as well. It reads more like a corally orange red on my skin, which is interesting. So I probably will be dipping into this palette mainly for these 3 colors, I'd say. The other ones, they don't excite me as much, but I think I will keep this in my collection. But now, let's talk about the Electro Brights collection. I think this collection is stunning. I think the lip colors are amazing. They're super bright. I'm wearing Tulum on my lips right now, outlined with the NYX Liquid Suede in the color Jet Set for that darker ombre effect. It feels really comfortable. It feels like I'm not wearing anything on my lips, which is surprising for a bold color like this. They usually tend to be a little bit thicker, a little bit drier, depending on the formula anyway. So it is a nice, comfortable feeling lipstick. But now let's do some swatches, because I think they're great. I think they're great colors, and I'm excited to have them in my collection. So this is what the pigments look like. I actually really like the internal packaging because it's a little bit more mess-free than others. You can just wipe off the top to store it after you're done using it. And then this is what the matte lip creams look like. They've got a doe foot applicator. The first one is Tampa. The second one is Atlanta. The third one is Whistler. The fourth one is Rio de Janeiro. Huh, that's funny. My family's from there. The next one is Tulum. And last but not least, we have Florence. For the pigments, we've got Hey Stranger. Then we've got Not Now. Then we've got Acid Dreams. That's a bit suggestive. I feel like the pigments do perform better when applied over a primer, but all in all, the Electro Brights collection is very, very pretty. The pigments I think are really beautiful, but I particularly don't enjoy using pigments because I think they're really messy. I much prefer a pressed eyeshadow. I have a lot of pigments and I just never use them because I just don't want to deal with a mess. But if you love pigments, I think that these are really pretty colors. So now that I have swatched everything, I'm gonna go and show you how I did this look. I've prepped and primed my eyes with concealer and powder. So I started with the teal. I was worried that I was going to need a transition shade for it, but as you can see, pigmentation isn't crazy, so you can just build it up slowly, winging it out on the outer corner. And I'm really dipping into the product, and you can see this is the amount of pigmentation that I get from it. So it's not crazy pigmented, but you can see that I'm building it up slowly. So this teal for me is a transition shade. It looks much brighter in the pan, but I used it as a transition shade for the blue. Then I went in with a small pencil brush into the deep blue and I started packing it on. And this also isn't crazy pigmented. You can build up this blue, but not that much. This is the extent that you can build it up to. So then I went in with the Acid Dreams pigment and just packed that on top. Blended it out. This really helped to intensify the color and the look. Then I added it to my crease as well, making sure to wing it out on the outer corner. Then because I felt I lost a bit of that teal, I went in and just kind of stamped it on the outer edges. And intensifying the purple again. If you blend it out too much, you just go back and forth between the colors until you get the intensity you want. I initially tried the yellow from the palette, but I thought it wasn't bright enough for what I wanted to do. It just looks quite chalky in comparison with the bold purples and blues. So then I took a bit of the pigment primer and applied that all over my lids, and then went in with Hey Stranger. Use my fluffy brush to blend out those edges. I do feel like this yellow pigment applies kind of patchy though. And then I applied some of the pigment primer into my inner corner and went in with the icy blue shade from the palette. I also took that shade onto my brow bone. And I wanted to make that inner corner pop even more, so I went in with the glitter primer and topped it off with the face and body glitter in the color Ice. Then to finish off the look, I took the dark blue and lined the outer half of my top lash line and topped that with the purple pigment. Then all you have to do is finish off with mascara. And for a final touch, I went in with the NYX Off Tropic Pro Liner in the color Pool Boy and lined my waterline. And that's it. That's the look done. You can obviously add lashes if you want to. I didn't add any because I didn't have any at the NYX headquarters with me, but I think it still looks pretty cool without lashes. So that was my mini review and swatches. I apologize if it's a little rough. I've never done one of these before. Please let me know down below if you like this video format, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. I'd love to hear your opinions on these products. Have you had a chance to play with any of these? Let me know down below. Let me know what you thought. And let me know if you like this type of video and I can do them more often because it's pretty quick to do. It was actually kind of nice. It was something a little bit different and that I'm able to do with PR products as they come in if you guys are interested in seeing that type of stuff. I do get a lot of things that I don't necessarily show on here. I'll show one color or another incorporated into a look usually, but if you would like to see swatches of complete collections and things like that, then please let me know down below and I'll try to make more of these. So as always, thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope you liked this video. Thank you so much to all my patrons who support me. If you would like to become a patron, I'm gonna leave the link down below. And I will see you next time. Bye!